Terran Lamp Show.
The Terran Lamp Show.
The Terran Lamp Show.
The Terran Lamp Show.
It's the Terran Lamp Show.
It's the Terran Lamp Show.
Where the topic of discussion is you.
So let's go.
How are you? How are you? This is the Terran Lamp Show. In each episode, we're going to dive into incredible stories of those around us making a difference in our communities. We've teamed up with Chicago News Weekly to bring you the great journeys of those shaping our world. We are going to hear from entrepreneurs, survivors, advocates, and storytellers. Thank you so much for joining me. We will have some incredible journeys to dive into. Make sure you're tuning in. I am your host, Terran Lamp, and this is the Terran Lamp Show. Again, thank you so much for joining me. We have a great guest on the show today. I can't wait to hear from her. She's got a lot of great informative things to tell us, so I'm really excited. I haven't learned it all, so I saved this kind of as a surprise for me to hear what she's got to say, because she's doing a lot in our communities. So let me introduce to you Miss Joan Clay. Joan is the founder and CEO of the Village and Legal Community Project, an organization dedicated to expanding access to justice for the underserved communities. With over 20 years of experience as a licensed attorney, Joan has devoted half of her legal career to public interest law. A Chicago native, Joan holds a BA in communications with an emphasis in journalism from Loyola University Chicago and earned her JD from the University of Detroit Mercy. Joan remained committed to public interest law, driven by her passion for community and mentorship. The Village provides critical legal service support for individuals facing landlord-tenant issues, foreclosure, sealing, and expungement, parenting time, child support, and powers of attorney. Joan believes in breaking cycles, creating economic opportunities, and training the next generation of attorneys who will keep the door open for those who need it most. Started here because I said, we were talking a little bit earlier. I want to save some of it from, as a surprise, but you're really doing a lot in the community. You're really doing a lot for people who need it, and we need it a lot now, right?
We absolutely need this information, these resources, this assistance, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Joan, what inspired you to create the Village and Community Project, and how did it evolve into programs like the Resume Bootcamp and Baby Boss? So what inspired you?
Literally, during COVID, I had a lot of time to kind of reflect on what was going on around me. At the time, I was in academia. I was at a law school teaching and a staff attorney in a clinic there. Mm-hmm. But I realized that there was still an unmet need in the communities around me as far as legal services, economic development. So I literally sat down one day and said, if I could do my own nonprofit, what would it look like? And I kind of mapped out the programs and what we would do and how we would do it, recruited my board members, and did all the paperwork, and here we are.
So self-made. Here you had this idea, and you started it, and here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah, that I think that in itself, takes a lot, right? Like, you had this idea, and you also wanted to give back, right? Because you thought to yourself, this is so important. Chicago has such a unique landscape for entrepreneurs and youth. How do your programs directly address these challenges we face? And when I think about the challenges we face, we all know what's going on today, right?
Yes.
And so the challenges we face maybe 5 years ago aren't the same challenges as we're facing now. The challenges we faced 10 years ago, of course, aren't the same that we're facing now. So I want to know how these programs address them, but even from your standpoint, like, how have things changed in your landscape? Because you have to keep up with so many laws and legal things, but you also have to keep up with what's going on in our communities.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, for the legal, here's the thing. When you're in criminal, you're entitled to an attorney if you can't afford one. In the civil landscape, that's not the case.
Okay.
So, there's legal aid out there, but what I realized is that even with the ones out there, there were waiting lists, so people still weren't getting help. Mm-hmm. And so the legal came from people still need legal. There will be a need for free legal services. There will be people who can't pay $350 an hour for an attorney. So that's where the legal component came in. With our Baby Boss and our Resume Bootcamp, we have to realize that the landscape is different for our youth now. When I was growing up, you go to high school, you go to college, you get a career,
Yeah.
and that's what you do, and you
Yeah,
stay there
yeah.
for like 30 years and you retire. Our youth are very much so into entrepreneurship, wanting to be their own bosses, have their own businesses, and so we need to plant the seeds so that they can grow into these entrepreneurs that they want to be. So we need to teach them about business plans, about marketing plans, about financial statements, so that when they start out, they're starting out on the right foot. Same thing with the resume bootcamp. My parents helped me do my first resume. I had siblings. Not everybody has that resource at home where people are helping them do these things. And so in talking with the social workers and teachers at the schools, they're like, our kids need to get jobs, but they're not job ready. And we don't have the time between all dealing with all the mental health and the other issues. We don't have the time to do these for them. So we started the Resume Bootcamp just strictly out of the feedback we were getting about the needs in our community.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because you do hear a lot about our young people who have, they go from 0 to 100 in 30 days,
Yeah.
right? And then what happens, or you hear it happen, they go from 100 back to 0 in 30 days because they didn't have things set up right.
Yes.
And it's not just young people, it's adults too,
Yes.
right? But I think you hear about it a lot now because, again, our world is going 0 to 100 and then back down 100 to 0 in 30 days. So we need people like yourself and your programs to help these children and adults get started on the right foot because you can lose it all.
Yes. Yes. As an entrepreneur, we've talked to a lot of people who they've started multiple businesses, they've had multiple failures. And I mean, failure is part of the game.
Right.
You know,
Right.
your first business may not be your last business, but one of the things they were always saying was, I didn't have the right information.
Yeah.
And so mistakes were made that were costly. Our programs are free and they're geared towards preventing all the stumbling and the failures that people have that are preventable. So we're there to really teach people from day one all the things they need to be thinking about as they grow the business and start the businesses.
So what, I'm just curious, like, because I think about young people and I think they are starting stuff sooner. What age group would you say? I mean, do you, maybe what's the youngest?
We have done our Baby Boss program for kids as young as 3rd grade.
Wow.
3rd grade through high school, and then we have our Adult Boss program. But even younger kids, I'm like, okay, so you walk your neighbor's dog.
Yeah.
That's a business.
Yeah.
You run errands for people, like maybe there's older people on the block who can't go and do things. You run errands for them. That's a business.
Yeah.
You watch other people's kids, 13, 14-year-olds. I'm like, that's a business. And so we really plant the seeds of, you can do this now. You could do this while you're in high school to save for college or whatever it is that you want to do. And I've even told some people in high school, when you go to college is expensive. But if you do hair, if you do lashes, if you do whatever, you do T-shirts, that is your money for tuition, for books, for, pizza, whatever.
Yeah.
So you plant the seeds early, show them how it can be done, and they run off and they do well.
So can you tell me, like, give me an example how the program works, like weeks long? How do people, get through it? Can you tell me that a little bit? Can you tell me a little
Sure.
bit more in depth about the programs?
Sure. Like for our Baby Boss program, it's 8 weeks.
Okay.
So we meet once a week. Depends on how much time like the schools or the organizations give us. We can do an hour, we can do 75 minutes. When they tell us what the time frame is, we adjust our curriculum. But we start off with, they pick a business. And then we grow from there. So each week we build from, okay, what's the name of your business? What are you going to focus on? What's the purpose of your business? Then we go into,
Great.
what do you need for startup costs? What are you going to need to run the business? And so we just build each week, and then we end our Baby Boss and our Boss cohorts with a pitch contest. So I bring in entrepreneurs. They pitch their businesses to these entrepreneurs. They get valuable feedback, and we award money, and we award prizes to the winners.
I think that's awesome, and I wanted to get a little bit more in case somebody, hears this and is like, what is the program about? Because I feel like a lot of people need this, a lot of people want this, a lot of people just don't know how to get it.
Yes, or they have to pay for it, which is
And they
sometimes
have to
it's
pay
not
for it.
affordable.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I wanted people to hear, like, yeah, this is a program that's doable for them.
Yes.
There's a process to it.
Yes.
And this is a reward at the end.
Yes.
Right.
And I mean, you walk away with, what goes in a business plan. Because
Yeah.
for a lot of people, they are like, oh, I'm just going to go to a bank and get some money. I'm like, do you have a business plan?
Yeah.
Because they're going to want to see that. have you formed your entity? Do you have an EIN number? Do you have a bank account? You're going to need all of these things. So we talk about the basics. We talk about the difference between an S Corp, a C Corp, an LLC, a partnership. They know about all of the things.
And they're going to have to figure out like how they're going to make it all happen, right? Like how, like you said, I mean, we all have, you know, all of us, right? This is what this show is about. All of us have stories and all of us have dreams and all of us have things. And the dream is going to cost you at some level, you know what I mean? And so you're helping them figure out, like I said, how not to lose it all.
Yes.
How to do more of the income versus the, you know, outgo,
Yes.
right, on their finances. Let's talk about impact. What success stories stand out to you from your participants in Resume Bootcamp or Baby Boss?
There is a young man. He was actually the first winner of our pitch contest for Baby Boss. He was a senior in high school. He's now in college,
Nice.
but he has his business. It's already, you know, it's been launched. He has clients. He does inspirational quotes and sayings, and he develops like posters or little cards. And so his business is up and running, and he's still running it while he's in college, and he's like taking business courses to further, you know, his knowledge of his business.
I think that's interesting because when he gets out, right, he'll have whatever degree he gets out with, which he can choose or not to. I mean, hopefully he'll go, you know, pursue something in that side. But if he has something else already,
Yes.
right, he already has a side business, right? In today's world, I think there's nothing, you know, wrong with having that, right?
You have to have
Yeah.
multiple revenue streams in this world that we live in right now.
Yeah, because you mentioned like the generation, you go to school, do this, do that, come out, get your degree, be done. But that doesn't happen anymore. So when you're teaching kids like this how to parallel or universes, I think that's amazing because when they come out, they're going to have two things at least.
Even learning a trade. I have people who are like, oh, okay, I want to be a mechanic. I'm like, so you can go to school and learn how to, you know, work on the cars, but you could own your own body shop. You can own your own garage. And their eyes light up like, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And I think that's good because they can do it all right here. They don't have to, you know, this show's about community and building community, and they can build their own community right here in the Chicagoland or wherever they may happen to be listening to this, right?
Yes.
Wherever they are listening to this, they can build their own community. I guess, and then maybe that's a question for you too. We'll get to that at the end, like how people can find you. But you know, I'm thinking about, you know, finding you virtually, right?
Yes.
So what role does mentorship, speaking of that, and community play in helping your participants thrive? So how often do you find yourself in that position? I mean, you're mentorshipping obviously from a business standpoint, but I'm listening to you right now, and even I'm thinking to myself, like, you probably keep in contact with these people maybe either well beyond their program, or they look to you and they say, you know, Miss Joan really helped me along the way. So what role does that play? One, for your programs, and two, for just Joan, you personally, because I feel like you have that spirit and you have that heart.
I mean, here's the thing, and I tell everybody needs to find a mentor. I have mentors.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 20 years in practicing law. I still have mentors who I call up some days like, I'm dealing with this, what do I do? Or even just, I've had a really horrible day, like, can you talk? Everybody needs a mentor. You need to find mentors. And sometimes, you know, you find them or they find you. I've just stumbled upon people and we kept in touch, and then I'm like, whether you know this or not, you're my mentor, and they laugh. For me, you know, we keep in touch with people after the programs are over because I check in to see how things are going. I check in to see if they need anything. You know, we do events like our Small Business Expo every year, and I make sure that they know to come out to things like that. I'll send information if I hear about grants or loans for businesses. So I make sure I keep in touch with people because I want them to know that even when the program is over, I'm still around to be a resource in any way that I can, because that's how community is built.
Yeah.
We have to stay in touch with each other, reach out to each other, ask for help. And I mean, somebody like me, I was always like, I can do this all myself. So asking for help used to be a hard thing for me. Mm-hmm. Starting this nonprofit has humbled me, where I realized that I have to ask for help, but I also have to be approachable for people to be able to ask me when they need it as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's hard for a lot of us, right? To ask for help.
Yes.
And especially I think when it comes to business, because you do think you can do it all by yourself, or you think you can research and find it out all by yourself, especially, but then you come to these little nuances that I bet you know and your team knows more than can be researched, right? There's got to be some nuances in there that you're like, hold on a minute, we need to backtrack for a second.
The internet is not always right.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
You can internet yourself into a problem.
Yes. Or just, the wanting to do everything yourself. Sometimes people have said, well, in the past, I reached out to this person and they didn't get back to me, or they didn't want to help me. That can be hard too, because some people don't have that spirit where they want to collaborate or help others, but people shouldn't let that deter them. That's
Right.
just not the person to help you, but there are people out there who will help you.
So speaking of deterring, let me ask you this. Along your way, like you said, 20 plus years, you've been doing this for yourself, you've been doing this for others, you have mentors, you're a mentor. There's got to be some obstacles that even stopped you in your tracks, right? And you've kind of said to yourself, Joan, I don't know if I can do this, or I don't know where this is going to come from, or, can you tell me a little bit about some of the obstacles that have came in your way that have thought to yourself, I don't know if I can do this?
Oh yeah. Before I started the nonprofit, I was in private practice, and I literally one day, I was working at a small firm, and I just was so unhappy. I gave my 2-week notice with like $25 in the bank. And I didn't really have clients, but I was like, I'm going to figure this out.
But you had $25.
Yeah, with my $25, we're going to figure this out. So I did. It was hard, but I learned because I had friends and mentors who were like, oh, so you want to do real estate? Okay, come to closings with me. I'll show you how to do this. So they mentored me, and they helped me figure out networking, which is another thing that people overlook these days.
Right.
Your network is everything. So I had to learn how to network. I had to learn how to put myself out there. I had to learn how to create opportunities. I had to learn the hard way that, like, for legal services, clients don't like to pay between November and January because they want to buy Christmas presents. So the lawyer doesn't get paid.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to prepare for those times when cash flow isn't flowing.
Yeah.
So when in private practice, I learned, some lessons the hard way, but it prepared me. And now when I see other people wanting to go out on their own, I kind of give them a roadmap of what that looks like. For the nonprofit, yeah, it's a lot. Imposter syndrome will hit you. You're like, am I really going to be able to do this? How am I going to find funding?
Yeah.
How are people going to, vibe with my mission and my vision? What's going on with my board? There are so many things that impact my world every day. With grants right now, and things going on with federal grants, and what if this stops? How am I going to pay people? I have people on staff who depend on me for money to live. So there are a lot of obstacles, but I think what you have to do, and what I had to do, was figure out that everything's not going to be perfect.
Okay.
I'm going to make mistakes. But I also had to network and find people in this space who I could call up and say, hey, listen, this is what's going on. Do you have any advice for me? Again, it's being humble enough to know you don't know everything, but it's okay.
Yeah.
As long as your intentions are good, as long as you educate yourself on what you need to be doing, you'll be okay.
I think that's so important because, society has taught us that it's not okay, right? Society has taught us that we have to be so perfect in everything, whether it's what we look like, whether it's our business, whether it's, starting a business, starting a nonprofit, we have to be so perfect. But it's good to know that there are people out there like yourself that are saying, hey, you know what? It's not perfect. Your business may not even be perfect. You hear about people all the time who start, like you said, I think you mentioned someone before, started a few businesses, right?
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to keep on with your mission and keep on with your plan. And I even think about this show. I had started this show, and I'm still learning, right? I'm still learning different things. So I think that's so important because it's not a matter of our obstacles are going to come. They're going to definitely come, and they're going to continue to come. You said 20 some years in the game, and you're still saying you're here, you're faced with some more, or you could be faced with some more.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. But I also think it's important for our communities to hear that it can be done, and that there are resources out there, that make it possible. Any other programs that you have going on that you specifically want people to know? I mean, I know you, when I mentioned in your bio a couple of other services that you want people to know about. I know you talked about Baby Boss and the resume program. What other services would you like people to know about that are out there with your with your program and organization?
Sure. So in addition to Baby Boss and the Resume Bootcamp for our youth, we do our Boss Cohort for our adult entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So we do the program 2 to 3 times a year. The next one will be in October. You'll want to sign up for the next Boss Cohort. It's 8 weeks. We do it virtually, and then we do our pitch contest like in person.
Okay.
And then we also do pro bono legal services, which are going to become hugely important as more programs are cut. People are going to be facing a lot more hardship. So we do a lot with like evictions and helping people deal with, I've seen a lot of landlords do evictions illegally.
Oh,
so we represent a lot of tenants and make sure that things are done by law. We also help people, if they can, repay their rent and stay. We don't want people to be,
without a home.
Yeah. Having, homelessness is an issue.
Yeah.
We don't want families put out. We also do a lot with sealing and expunging because for a lot of people, that's a barrier for employment.
Right.
And so we do sealing and expunging for people. We do parenting time, child support, just so that people have all of the things that they need so that our families thrive. Because when our families are thriving, our communities thrive.
Yeah.
We're all connected.
We
So
are,
everything
right?
is connected.
I think it's good because the whole, there are a lot of people out there who cannot, don't have the means to fight for this. And when you think about, goodness, how hard it must be to be facing some of those issues in our communities that are real issues in our communities, to have someone that's on your side that can help you even when you can't fight. Because I think that's important, right? Like there's lots of things in life that's like, yeah, I want to fight for this, but I can't.
Yes. We've helped some veterans with, getting some benefits that they were entitled to. We've helped families, like we don't have money to help people pay their rent, but we know of programs.
Yeah.
So we've been able to connect them. So one of the things is like if we can't personally help you, we try to connect you with other resources so that you can get the help that you need.
You're an advocate for them.
I mean, I'm here to help in any way that I can because we all, at some point in life, need help.
I just want to reach over and give you a hug. I just want to give you a big old hug.
No, thank you.
So looking ahead, what is your vision for expanding the Village and Legal Community Project and its programs across Chicago and beyond? What's your vision? What does the future hold?
Ooh, so we're going into year 5. So we're still kind of a baby organization, but everything's been wonderful. We're growing. My staff is growing. So I want to increase the number of people that we have so we can help more people. And the more staff I have, the more people we can help. I want to increase our boss and our baby boss and our resume bootcamp cohorts to, more schools, more youth programs, more individuals. And honestly, I recently brought in a new board member, excuse me, who lives in New York.
Okay.
And she's actually a former student of mine. And, I've mentored her. I hooded her at graduation. I've attended her wedding.
Nice.
She's always kept in touch with me. And so when I was like, oh, we need some new board members. And she's like, I love what you're doing. Count me in. She's in New York. And she's like, I can see us expanding to New York. And I was like, okay, let's get Chicago good first. But I would love to expand like our entrepreneurship programs and our resume programs in other states because the need is so great.
Yeah.
So I would love for us to be an organization that operates in multiple states.
I mean, I think that's doable. Like, who am I to say? But I just think it's doable, right? I mean, there's the world is like a little big world right now.
Yes.
So I definitely think it's doable. You've got somebody on your side, right?
Yes.
That's somewhere else that wants to expand. And there's so much opportunity available to us virtually that it sounds like a doable project to me. And it definitely sounds like, that whole, if you build it, they will come.
Yes. And if you build it, they will fund.
Yeah. but that's just it, right? It'd be like supply and demand. But is the demand there? Yeah. So you're just providing the supply because the demand for your services is already there.
Yes. People will, unfortunately, everyone thinks of this perfect world where people are, there's no poverty, there's no homelessness. In our capitalistic society, We're not there.
Yeah.
And so people will always have needs, and everyone is deserving of dignity and respect and empathy, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah. I want to go back to one thing you said too about your network and how important that is. And that's something too when you talk about expanding, right?
Yes.
That your network will grow. And what do they say, that saying, your network is your net worth?
Yes.
Right? And it's just like talking about how we're all, growing our network.
Yes.
And in hopes to building your net worth. But I guess my point of that is, like you said, multiple streams. But your network is going to definitely grow outside of here. It's already, right? Mm-hmm. Growing outside of here. But the people you're going to help, the community you're going to help is boundaryless.
Yes.
And I think you're doing so much good for both our young people and our adults, because these things that you're offering can be offered to either sides of the fence, either sides of the coin, right?
Yes.
Like young people, adults, and kind of somewhere, anywhere in between.
Yes.
And in today's world where we're doing a lot of take, it's so good to see someone giving.
Oh, thank you.
Someone giving back. I want to ask you, though, one last surprise question.
Okay.
So for those who have watched shows in the past, I am a cat lady. Do not judge. And so, if you're not a cat lady, it's okay. I still love you. If you are, I love you more. But do you know what they say about cats? Curiosity in the cats. So, Miss Joan Clay, what are you curious about?
I am curious about how I can further connect who I am with this entire world. I have recently, 6 years ago, I went vegan because I realized my connection to all living beings. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just curious to continue to grow in my journey to connect.
And you're like right there, you're doing it.
But there's more. There's so much more for me to grow as a person, to grow as a philanthropist, to grow as a woman.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm curious to follow your journey to connect too. Because what you're doing, like I said, I just want to reach over. I'm going to give you a hug after this. But reach over and give you a hug, because I think what you're doing is like, I'm one of those heart people. And I think what you're doing is just giving back in a way that is unique.
Thank you.
Is needed. And how do I say this? With what your services are, you don't have to be doing this, right? There are a lot of people out there that are taking in what you do. And what you do is you're giving back. Mm-hmm. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you so much.
Can you let people know where they can find you?
Yes.
Ms. Joan.
So you can find me at the Village Legal and Community Project. Our email is info@tvlcp.org. We are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn. You can find us, please follow us, sign up for our newsletter. If you need legal services, you can apply online for that. Our next cohort for Boss is coming up. You can apply online for that, or you can reach out to us if you have any questions.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it, Ms. Joan. Like I said, I'm going to give you a hug after this. So ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you're finding Ms. Joan Clay and all she's doing in our Chicago community and beyond, because I know it's coming. So thank you so much, Joan, for joining me. Truly appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. This is the Terran Lamp Show. Please make sure you're following me too. So I am at I am Terran L on all platforms. So you'll see the show on all platforms at I am Terran L. This is the Terran Lamp Show. I would love to have you on the show. So if you have a story or know someone who does, this show is about you. This show is about inspiration. This show is about building community. This show is about you. So please make sure you find me on all platforms. I am Terran L, or you can connect with me on terranlamp.com. I was like my website, terranlamp.com. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I truly, truly appreciate it. Until next time, be good to yourself and each other. Bye-bye.